Welcome to Flavor Text, an extension of the Max Level podcast brought to you by TechniSport Gaming Chairs. Use offer code LDG to save 10% whenever you make a purchase on a brand new gaming chair, desk, or accessories. Be sure to subscribe to the Max Level podcast on your favorite podcast app of choice to hear a new episode every Monday morning at 5 a.m. Eastern. On today's episode of Flavor Text, the crew jumps back into the Fallout 76 universe to discuss some recent changes, the upcoming PvP mode, and rumors of it going free to play. Support us by clicking that subscribe button, hit the like, turn notifications on, and drop a comment down below. So for this week, I want to actually go back and talk about something that we've talked about extensively before on our Max Level podcast. And if you're unfamiliar with that, just go check out Max Level wherever you find your podcast. It posts every Monday morning at 5 a.m. Eastern, 2 a.m. Pacific. But we talked a lot about Fallout 76 in the past, but unfortunately, we didn't get to talk about it with Sean, who is the most recent addition to the Max Level podcast. We're slowly working on getting him into a permanent chair status, but for right now, just guest appearing from time to time. But Sean and I jumped into Fallout 76 hard when it first came out. And we actually have him on a Flavor Text this week with Frank and myself. So we're going to jump back into the Fallout 76 discussion, because not only is there new information that we can actually discuss, like this PvP mode that's upcoming to the game, but the fact that Bethesda is so adamant that they don't want to turn the game into a free-to-play game and it actually could benefit from it. So I don't know where we want to jump off. Again, Flavor Text is never planned. We never write out anything out. We never have anything really to go off of. But I don't know where we want to jump off with this, but I'm not sure.
Okay, I'm not going to play this like a Die Hard movie. Okay. I'm not going to run around and crawl through vents and take guys out with glass. And I want to run in guns blazing and just hit the hard topic right out the gate.
Let's do it.
The only thing I have to say is, what are they doing with the game? Because it seems right now they've got a bunch of different people asking for a bunch of different things, and they're still going with the broken formula. And I want to know why.
Yeah, and that's the big reason why, Frank, you have not actually jumped into this game, and the reason why I myself uninstalled it, because it's not getting any better. It's not necessarily getting worse, because it really can't get much worse than it already was, but it's not getting better at the same time.
Keep in mind, this is not a town hall meeting, right? This is not all of us standing up going, we want this, we want that.
No. This is just
No,
a discussion.
Yeah, it's not a gripe fest.
No,
go ahead, Frank.
I don't know.
So they had mentioned this survival mode, and they mentioned it on two different scopes. One is probably where it's going, with it being just straight up PvP, so you can kill each other.
Yes.
Which is cool, yeah, whatever. But the other rumor, so to speak, was that this is going to be like the game I want, the standalone version that you could play without everyone else.
Yeah, and I wonder if that is something that they're going to do, or if that might be something that they're trying to do. Instead of fixing the game, are they just trying to now build a single player game out of the remnants of what worked from Fallout 76 and then put that out? I don't know. Maybe.
Well, did you guys see the hidden room that was found?
No.
There's a hidden room that was found in the game, and there's a human NPC in there.
Okay, so the first NPC in the world has been found.
Yeah. and it begs the question, are they going to introduce it? Is that something that they had as a contingency? Because we know that Fallout games are heavily driven by story content and interaction.
It's the reason people play them.
You don't have that in this game. You have basically a shell of a Fallout game right now. So are they going to do that? And Brian, you and I talked about this at length, and we discussed what could they do to kind of resurrect this game, kind of throw the AFib on it, so to speak.
Yeah.
And what I thought of was having survivors and factions come into West Virginia.
Right. Like from elsewhere out in the world.
Exactly. Like, oh, hey, you thought you were the first ones out of the vault, but you were wrong. And that would be awesome to see the Brotherhood of Steel come in, and maybe some type of other faction that we used to see.
Tunnel Snakes rule.
But the way to do it would be to introduce, much like Warcraft and Blizzard do with World of Warcraft, how they introduce patches into the game with these major trailers and these major story elements. Can you imagine if we got an update for Fallout 76 later in 2019, say, spring, not even spring, because that's too close. Let's say summer. They put out an update for Fallout 76. And one of the best things about Blizzard updates is the trailers that we get alongside them. So can you imagine if we get a Fallout 76 trailer come summer 2019, where it's, you see like this gigantic structure soaring in from the sky, and it's like the introduction of the Brotherhood of Steel into the area, and like this whole lore element and storytelling they could physically do. And when you jump back into the game after you watch this trailer, because you can, you know, usually if they do it the way that Blizzard does, you see the trailers when you boot up the game before you actually jump into the game. Now you can skip them if you want to, but why would you? Because they're very story heavy. And as soon as the trailer ends and you're back in the game, then the world has totally changed and you have this outpost for the Brotherhood of Steel and all these new things to do. And now the game is, while it still has multiplayer elements to it and you still are on these shards and you can still see other people and play with other people, now you're starting to get this actual Fallout world in the game. You have these NPCs. You have this more streamlined questing system that isn't just hope to God you stumble upon something and, you know, read some text from a machine.
Key things that you said. Updates. Okay. Updates. If you patch little updates to bring in the story content, you'll give something new every time. People will start to talk about it. There'll be buzz, right?
That's what MMOs do best.
If you put an expansion pack out for Fallout 76, you can see me throwing my CD into my property and peeing on it. Because I will not play this game if they try to get another dime out of me until the game is good. Will you film it so we can put it up on the channel or the website? No, because it would be a shameful experience and you might not even see everything you need to on the video. But no, all sincerity, all seriousness, the game is broken right now. Whether it works well or not, as it is, it's incomplete. And although I love the Backstreet Boys, and that's one of my favorite songs by them, I don't want the game to be that.
Dude, we just talked about boy bands the other day, too.
I'm not going to lie.
Yeah,
I will own it on the internet right now. But yeah, you know, honestly, the game is fun with people. And so if the game is going to focus more on a social element and they're not going to put story content in, fine, but let's create communities. Let's create something for guilds to go to or factions to do. And let's make something where you can build kind of like an Age of Conan thing. Let's not make it Sean's apartment and Brian's house. Let's make it our place. You know what I mean?
Right. Much like, you know, TAC, you and I did with Conan. We had this awesome settlement that, you know, eventually got abandoned because we stopped playing the game, but still.
And the servers need to retain that. You can't just pack it up in your camp and walk away, and when you log out, no one can touch your crap. Let's make this a real experience. Let's do it. Because right now, the game is halfway committed, and nobody likes that.
Right.
You know, that's like the girl telling you that you're dope, but then whenever you're in public, she doesn't want to hold your hand.
Ah, been there, done that.
You know?
Yeah.
I can't do that anymore. I can't do that. I want something to hold on to, and I want to be able to play this game with friends and have it mean something, because right now it's just an experience.
So do we think that the upcoming PvP mode, which I believe is called Survival, do we think that that is maybe a step in the right direction in terms of more to do with these communities? Because now, if you look at it in terms of World of Warcraft, you now have this alliance versus horde mentality, because you can choose which side you're on, so to speak.
I think it needs to be more than that.
I agree that it needs to be more, but is it a step in the right direction to give us more something to do?
Yes and no. If I can go back to one of the greatest pieces in American cinema, The Postman.
Okay.
Okay.
I really dug the 8-Ball Clan. I love the idea of that. And I always thought that Fallout needed that. Fallout needed little bands of people that could go out and do their thing and really mess with other people. And you can't do that with just two sides. You got to have more than that. You got to have little clans, little groups, little gangs that can all go out and try to vie for something. And if you do that in Fallout, you'll have something big.
So now we're back to the factions that already exist in the Fallout universe. Now we're back to the Brotherhood of Steel and all that kind of stuff.
But yeah, now's the time to actually play it. Now's the time to actually do it. That's what made Fallout so good, was you had these competing factions for power, and they all had their motives. Like, you could join the Brotherhood of Steel and say, wow, this is something I could actually get behind. And then you could
I want to fight for these guys. I want to fight for these guys. Exactly.
Yeah.
And the right answer was to fight for the Institute, okay? Because
their guns suck, dude. I don't even understand how they're powerful in the game.
Stupid synths.
And they all wear trench coats. Stupid.
It's totally dumb. And the other big rumor that I wanted to touch on in this particular episode of Flavor Text is Bethesda outright squashing the rumor that Fallout 76 would be going free to play after I agree with that. But after a lot of people have noticed that the standard edition of Fallout 76 is unavailable on retail websites online, and, you know, there's low stock on Amazon.com. So there was speculation that the game might be moving free to play after the initial, you know, after the game was sold out, which would be a pretty crappy move to keep selling the game and then go free to play like the very next day. Hey, by the way, the game's now free to play. All those who bought it,
Gotcha.
Here's 500 Bethesda bucks, like, you know, we gave you for not getting the cloth bag originally.
Okay, so Sea of Thieves did this. They sold the game, then they went free to play through Xbox Game Pass.
Yes, more or less free to play, but not free to play. Exactly. More or less free to play, but not exactly free to play.
Completely resurrected the game. Do they do this with Bethesda? Do they find a way to package this into something, build the fan base back up,
it's
get
possible.
people to play? People love free games, and they'll buy things in the game if it's free.
They will. And speaking of Sea of Thieves, I don't know if you noticed over the past couple of weeks, especially the last week in general, it's been the #3 rated game on Twitch.
Only because freaking Summit's on there.
Well, yeah, Summit's streaming it, and that definitely helps. But still, because he's streaming it and because he's having fun, now there's other people restarting the game as well, trying to get a piece of the pie in terms of viewership on Twitch. So because of that, now Sea of Thieves is even more relevant than it was in mid-2018.
I'm glad you brought him up.
But the expansions are actually good for Sea of Thieves. They're good expansions.
Not only that, you're in a state right now where online gaming is stale. All it is BR heavy, and then single player stories, and you watch the single player games for the streamer, you watch the BRs for the people who are good at the game, and then there's that quasi zone where Summit goes in, and you know, guys like, you know, Baru, guys like that, right?
Yeah,
they're playing these games because
or even to an
they
extent,
have nothing else to do.
Yeah, and Lyric is a good example of that as well.
Right.
He always really plays single player games, though, in general. Like, Lyric is more like the kind of streamer that I like to watch, who focuses on like the story heavy games. But he always has a massive amount of people watching. So if he jumped into an older game, that would give it credibility once again.
It's true. And, you know, maybe what Fallout 76 is missing is something for the streaming community to fall into. Because I know Co played it for a while.
Yeah, Co played it for a while. Yep.
He got burnt out.
Because there's not much to do. There's nothing to do.
I don't know, Frank. You're on the fence, right? What do you need to see from the game?
For one, it has to not be broken anymore.
Right.
Because I'm not going to shell out my money to play a broken game again. Okay, Agony has burnt me so bad that I will not buy a broken game ever again.
Should have listened to me.
Right.
Again, Brian. Yes, you're right.
Can you say it one more time?
You're so right.
That was good.
My big hang up on Fallout, and I said it from the beginning, and you told me I'm crazy for it. I don't. It's maybe I'm an antisocial gamer. I don't want to play these games with other people. But I'm not adverse to it if they make it work right. Like you said, if you bring in factions, you can add some NPCs to the game as long as, you know, it's done right.
Okay. Great points.
I can't. I can't buy this game based solely upon the community because there's too many idiots out there who I don't want to play with.
So you brought up some great things, and I want to touch on them. I don't know. I didn't want to interrupt you, though, if you were done.
Please.
But
oh, my God, please.
There is a lack of barter and commerce in this game that's meaningful. Okay. How many times do I run up to a robot or a kiosk and give it things like bottle caps? The bottle caps were meant to be currency after everything went south. So why are we paying robots and things that were built basically before or have the protocol of things from before? Why are we paying for that now? And they don't touch on that very well. So bartering with NPCs with items and favors and quest rewards would solve that issue, right?
Yeah. Then
you go into the community. Fallout 76 is the deep end of internet community gaming right now. It's actually got a really good idea of how to do it. Proximity voice things, communicating with people in the area. You can see when people are, famous for being jerks and killing other people. And so there are things on there that are really good, but there's no meaning to it. It's not even something that you can get into and appreciate because there's no way to really apply it. It's basically a great game engine with no story. It's like Unreal Tournament right now. That's the way this game feels. It's just mechanics and no substance. And I think I agree with you. I agree with everything you say. If the game had more gripping stuff and more ways to bring people together and actually champion the social element of the game that's meant to have, you might have something.
It's Destiny.
True.
Without the good things Destiny has.
Destiny is way better than Fallout 76.
Destiny is 100%
and Destiny's
better.
not even that good of a game.
I had fun dancing in a circle with people on the sphere at Destiny. You don't even have that level of social interaction
than anything I ever did in Fallout 76.
I think the funnest thing we did in Fallout 76 was we made jokes about what we were doing in like country accents.
Yes, but we also found a rare moth that apparently a lot of people haven't seen.
Okay, that was weird. That was like seeing your dad naked. Like, you don't know what to do.
Yeah,
like, this isn't natural.
It was the weirdest thing. Like, we tried attacking it. It just stares at you. Nothing happens. And I don't think anything was supposed to happen, but we did this quest revolving on a lighthouse and some bug juice. And when we were done, a giant moth came. And I obviously think it was a play on the meme of the moth and the light stuff that was popular last year. But still,
I don't know.
It was weird.
You know, the game has a lot of dead end streets and no thoroughfare. Like, you can't travel along in the game. It's just a bunch of dead ends.
Yeah. And that's just the fact that, you really have no idea where these quests are pointing you to, or, like being able to even continue quests and find quests. It's too difficult. And and we talked about this before on the podcast, the Max Level podcast, but MMOs live and die by their questing structure and their end game. And if you can't even get to the end game because you can't find the quests and you have to just hope you stumbled upon it, which Frank, you Ben mentioned, like when we were doing the show, like, but that's the beauty of Fallout and that you do have to explore. I get that, but this isn't a traditional Fallout game. This is an MMO built on community and experiences that you really need to have a driving force behind to continue forward. So if you can't find these quests, then you can't actually go out there and engage with what little story the game already has. And now you're just stuck with no story and nothing to do. The game's going to die. And it clearly did.
Hey, you know what? That brings up some good stuff. So when we talk about the game having things to do, reasons to play, what was that old MMO? I don't know if it was Shadowblade or whatever, where you could put down a tree and it was the center of your town and you can build up a town with your friends.
Oh my God, I have no idea.
Oh my gosh, it's going to come to me. If anyone listens to the show, drop it in the comments, because that game is exactly what Fallout 76 is. Great mechanics, good engine, decent graphics, just no reason to play it, no way to really tie you into story, and the social elements were just kind of borrowed from other games. Even if you could pick a town on the map in Fallout 76 and make it yours with a group of friends and then fight against other towns and try to go pillage them, and you could have that would be fun.
That'd be cool, yeah.
You could build new towns on the map and actually found them and then have some sort of commerce and government with people and community.
The town of Frankton.
That would be amazing. I would be a resident of Frankton.
I already am a resident of Frankton in Y2K, and it's not the best.
Or already made towns where you can do things and upgrade them, and the rest of the people on the server come to them.
Agreed.
Like Crater Town or whatever from Fallout 3, or Diamond City or Megaton, yeah, or all those little establishments you help in 4. Like, that would be so much fun. They're missing big time things in the game, and I don't know how you replicate that. I don't know if you have dedicated server shards where people, that's their home and they don't go anywhere else or what, but WoW does it.
They do.
WoW's been out for 15 years.
Yeah, so it's definitely not like technology that is out of the realm of possibility for Bethesda to implement. I think the biggest takeaway is that while there is still a lot of work for Fallout 76 to become something salvageable and, playable once again for even people that bought the game like you and myself, but they're slowly making strides, like with this PvP mode that is giving players something else to do that is at least a positive, and maybe we'll see something more in the future.
Honestly, when this game was coming out, I thought of the days where I played Oblivion on Xbox and I wanted to play with my friends online and I could see them playing it. And it was such a popular game. And I thought, can't I just come into your game? Can't I just come in? You run it as a single player game, but I'm there. We run dungeons together. We experience the story together. Fallout 76 could have done that.
And now we realize how dumb of a concept that was. And we were stupid for thinking of that because of how bad it ended up being.
Oh my gosh. But they could have done that with a real mainline game like 4, and it would have been glorious. It would have been fantastic. Have a host system, have people join in on that host game, put the burden on people's bandwidth and upload and download. It still would have been a better experience than this one.
Yeah, and I think that's an interesting thing is that Fallout 76 could have been way better had they not done the MMO and just done a multiplayer Fallout.
I think they rushed it.
Yeah, agreed.
Oh,
They announced it late. They put it out quick, and now we're seeing why.
Well, hopefully it gets saved because it like you mentioned, it definitely has some interesting concepts. And based off of the stories that came out this past week about, you know, is it going free to play? Is it not going free to play? And this new PvP mode that they're implementing. It's definitely, they haven't given up yet. So at least that's admirable. Like they're not just writing it off as a total failure, even though it largely has been.
Do you think that this defines Bethesda though?
That's the issue.
Do they save this for the sake of saving their company? Because right now they have so much egg on their face.
That's the issue that is definitely going to define Bethesda moving forward throughout this year and then next year as we get closer to Starfield releasing and then, you know, finding out more information on Elder Scrolls 6. What happens with Fallout 76 is going to really just paint the picture for that company going forward. Then that's why a lot of people have now said, well, shit, I'm not even going to jump into Starfield when it first comes out because of how bad Fallout 76 was. So this could have hurt their reputation more so than anything. And I think that they really do, as a company, want to do their very best to try and at least turn this around somewhat. So that way, you know, they get some of that good faith back from fans that have now largely abandoned them or abandoned the concept of their games.
But this podcast episode is not a dig on them. This is actually good.
We're all Bethesda fans.
Hell yeah.
Frank more so than any of us, but still.
They had the best E3 conference last year. So
they did not. They lost to Microsoft, but that's okay.
Fake news.
No, true news. True news. Level Down Games Weekly Scoop News Report from the Max Level Podcast. But Bethesda tried to, you know, salvage the Fallout 76 is an online game with, hey, but don't forget we're working on Starfield and Elder Scrolls 6. Much like, what was it? Someone just did this. What was it? They announced a game and like, BioWare. Hey, Anthem's coming out, but don't forget, here's Dragon Quest 4. It's coming, or Dragon Age 4. It's coming. Like, you know, if Anthem sucks, don't forget we have another single player game in the future.
I am so glad you brought that up because Anthem actually is a complete game. This game looks 10 times better than Fallout 76.
It does. It does. And from what I've played from the alpha, it is better already, and it can't be worse. So,
you know what? And that's a great point. Game studios can have multiple projects and tie them together and cross hype, cross produce,
cross market. But it can't be a cop out. Bethesda's using this as a cop out. Hey guys, we effed up, but don't worry, we're going to give you some good stuff in 10 years. Yeah.
BioWare said, hey guys, we're doing multiple things to show you that we're not just Mass Effect.
Right.
And I think that's good. I think Bethesda is on the right path. I think they have a lot of good things to build on, but they need to actually listen to community feedback because they have a market where people are dedicated to them and not a lot of people outside of their fan base come and buy their game.
And to tie everything back together before we get on out of here for Flavor Text this week, much like how we mentioned with Sea of Thieves and the Xbox Game Pass and how that kind of brought it back into relevance, and you can sign up for Xbox Game Pass for $9.99, you know, have access to all these games. How I plan on playing Anthem is by signing up for Origin, which itself is $9.99.
What?
or unless they put it on Origin Premium, which then is $14.99, but still, it's still $15. But you sign up for that and you download it for a month and play the game. That's how I plan on originally checking out Anthem, because if I don't like it, I only wasted $10 or $15.
Is Anthem multiplayer?
Anthem is only multiplayer.
Is it what we wanted Destiny to be?
Yes.
That's what they're saying.
Yes. Yes.
I would love to see that. I think Fallout 76 can borrow elements from these different games and slowly incorporate them in a sly way.
Yeah.
And it might save the game.
Right. Like Justin and I are planning on picking up Anthem on PC. So, I mean, Sean, if you wanted to pick it up, we definitely have people, because you can play with up to like 4 or 5 people. So,
hey, dog. Hey, I'm tempted.
Plus, again, just sign up for Origin Premium for $10 a month or $15 a month and check out the game for 30 days. Because then if we stop playing it after 30 days, you didn't actually buy the game. You didn't lose your $60. You only lost like $15, which is definitely an easier pill to swallow.
You know what? You probably just sold me. So,
yeah. So that's awesome. We'll check it out when it comes out in, is it next month? Is it February it's still coming out? Yeah, it's February 22nd. Yeah. But so next month. But Bethesda might be able to, if they don't go free to play, by having some sort of, $10 a month to play the game and check it out or something, like a subscription service. But the subscription would then get you a copy of the game. But if you let your subscription lapse, you can't play it anymore. Maybe that would help them slowly get more people into Fallout 76 as well, because it worked. It worked for Sea of Thieves, and it's clearly going to work for Anthem.
It's true. So parting words, what do we want to see as people who have already purchased and played the game? What do we want to see to make up for this? What is going to bring us back, whether it's perks or more content or whatever? What's the one thing, if you had one thing to say?
I think the perk system is actually interesting, and I do kind of enjoy it. But for me, it would definitely be the NPCs and the content.
Okay. I think that there needs to be a way to make the game more socially accessible and incorporate story within that to give the groups purpose. But I would settle for just giving me perks in the game if they go free to play, since I was a founder.
Okay.
I think that they can make that right.
And Frank, for you just want the game not to be broken anymore.
Yeah, trust me, if it goes free to play, I'm playing it. I don't care how broken it is, because if I don't have to sink anything into it, I'll at least give it some time. But even then, if it's not good, I'm not going to play it any further than that. So,
thanks for checking out a new episode of Flavor Text. If you enjoyed what you just heard, be sure to click that subscribe button and turn notifications on, leave a like, and drop a comment down below. We'll see you next time.